At some point today, your body is going to do something before you even think about it. Your jaw will open, your eyes might water, your chest will stretch all on its own, and everyone around you will think the same thing. You're tired. But that can't be the whole story, because you started yawning before you ever took a breath. In the womb, months before air ever touched your lungs. Fish do it, birds do it, dogs do it, and you do it wide awake, nervous, focused, even bored out of your mind. You can catch it from a stranger. You can catch it from a screen. Just reading the word can set it off. This is Og. Og just yawned in a meeting. He thinks his body is saying, sleep. It may be saying something far older. Here's the strange part. Something this old that every one of us does, and scientists still can't fully agree on why. Honestly, there's no settled answer. But there's one thing they keep circling back to. A yawn isn't your body grabbing air. It's closer to a change of state. And the real answer is stranger than tiredness. It's about state, temperature, and why one body makes another copy it. So what is this ancient program actually doing? Start with the story you grew up with. You feel sluggish, you breathe shallow, so your body forces one big gulp of oxygen. Sounds reasonable. Except someone actually tested it. Volunteers breathed air loaded with extra carbon dioxide, then pure oxygen. If yawning were about air, that should move the numbers. It didn't. More oxygen didn't stop the yawns. Less didn't cause them. So the oxygen idea quietly died. A yawn is not your body topping up on air. Tiredness is real. You do yawn before bed and after waking up. But you also yawn fully awake, before a workout, before a test. So tiredness is one trigger, not the reason. Which leaves the obvious question. If it isn't air, and it isn't only tiredness, when exactly does a yawn show up? Look at the timing, and a pattern jumps out. You yawn most right before you fall asleep, and right after you wake up. The literal seams between one state and the next. Bored, about to focus. Resting, about to move. The yawn keeps landing right at the switch. One idea. A yawn helps shove the body from one gear into the next, a quick stir of the whole system. For a moment, heart rate and blood pressure tick up. And that explains the cases that make no sense as tiredness. Athletes yawn right before a race. Soldiers yawn right before they jump out of a plane. That isn't boredom. That's a body bracing for what's coming. Some researchers even link yawns to a spike in cortisol, an arousal hormone. That part's still a hypothesis, not a fact. So here's the real shape of it. A yawn isn't a tiredness alarm. A yawn keeps showing up at the border between states, and it may help you cross it. But why a giant stretch of the jaw just to make that crossing? One leading theory says the switch might be physical. If a yawn helps the body change state, one way it might do that is by changing temperature. One leading theory? The yawn works like a radiator for the brain. The huge jaw stretch and deep inhale pull cooler air and blood through the head, nudging the brain back toward its ideal temperature. In contagious yawning studies, cooling the forehead, or just breathing through the nose, reduced how much people yawned. And yawning drops off when the air around you is already as warm as your body, exactly when cooling wouldn't help. One study clocked over 1,000 yawns across 100+ species. The pattern? Across animals, bigger brains tend to come with longer yawns. More brain to cool, the theory goes. More yawn. It's a strong idea, not the final word, because it can't easily explain the strangest part of all. A yawn doesn't just happen to you. It spreads. You watch someone yawn, and seconds later, there you go. It spreads through almost any cue, seeing it, hearing it, even just thinking about it. You might be fighting one right now. People say it's empathy, that you catch yawns from people you care about. But that evidence is shaky. The brain regions you'd expect often don't light up the way the empathy story needs. A simpler idea fits the rest of the story better. It may be an old way to sync a group's alertness. One body changes state, and the room follows. Everyone retunes at once. Useful if you're a small band sharing one dangerous night. And it runs deep. Yawning-like behavior shows up across animals, dogs, birds, even fish. Which raises the real question. Just how old is this thing? Older than almost anything else your body does on a loop. Remember the womb from the very start? That wasn't just a nice line. A fetus yawns, months before it ever breathes air, which on its own buries the oxygen story for good. It's tied to deep, ancient brain circuits underneath the thinking layer. And for almost all of that history, a yawn was just a quiet signal, changing state, sleep coming, a group settling down or stirring together. Then, Og woke up in 2026. Now he yawns in a meeting and panics that he looks bored. He yawns before the gym and calls it tired. He yawns on a call and reaches for more coffee. Same ancient signal every time. He just files all of it under one modern word: tired. But the yawn was never only saying that. So, Og isn't low on air, and he isn't always tired. His body is changing state, waking, bracing, maybe cooling, syncing with the room, the way it has for millions of years. It shows up when the body is moving between states. A yawn isn't a low battery warning. It's a gear shift. Old code, new room, same body. That's why the next time you yawn wide awake, it isn't a glitch. Your body just changed gear and forgot to mention why.